This guy can normally be a nice guy, but then this weirdo showed up one from the corner of Brook Park and Pearl here. Skinny outcalls of this for we had to get Luciano after him. We don't play. He goes around this corner, see he's looking at this, he's looking at that. You don't touch this stuff in your pants. This guy can only be a nice guy, but then one day this. You shut up! Quit interrupting while I'm trying to work my straight concentration! Luther! Quit interjecting! It's screaming at me! Take free! Quit trying to steal my intellectual property! Hi, I'm Arsenio Hall, local Cleveland talk show host, and I'll be your promoting tin machine on my talk show live in New York. They're probably gonna hang out with my boys. I'm gangsta, platinum heart. Welcome to for example, I've composed lyrics which begins, "Hello, Mr. Echo," in the association of our courteous Echo.
Don't! Seems like we've been here before. Got outfits out there. They got like an outfit on? Yeah, display. Yes, but we still decided to become a band.
Listen, I was a big fan of David's. I go way back to like 89, 90. I've been into his stuff since the old days.
Ouch!
No, we met years ago, about 1971 or 2 at this place called Max's Kansas City.
Asking them for different from lady fingers up to double dongs or whatever it is. Actually, holding them up to his ear. And he was in one shop and there was a guy with a vacuum cleaner vacuuming up and Reeves goes, and the guy goes, no.
Based over character impersonations on that record. Nice guy in a tough business, etc. This is an evidentiary record from cases of my freaking information and testimony about these freaking that I have too much freaking experience and knowledge with because they're freaking stalking for creeps. Undesired by me. That I can't stand. Like Arsenio Hall and Trent and Brian Corner. Because I have too much experience with them because they're stuck on my freaking self. Be creeps. Issue to my causes. This record is for, as a declaration in support of information, in support of my legal costs, and against British petroleum oil, for the wages of the royal family, in compensation, restitution. Don't you give me any freaking excuses, you don't have any legal excuses. Now you quit this racketeering. You filthy freaking inferior scumbags. Well, here's my plans. I don't know if I'm Allison, the judge for it. Mr. Shepard knows what I'm talking about. That's another waitress. Because if you were to take lines from Proverbs of Benjamin Franklin's Almanac, the bird in the hand worth 2 in the bush, and an apple a day saves a nation. Ah, bunch of freaking damn feuds! I'm taking a sexually targeted figure with the causes, and it's not that nigger freaks out of Sacramento University! It's an associate of freaking trial of baby hairs! And David Rodriguez! Arsenio!
You show me a pistol in the face?
This guy can really be a nice guy, but don't De Niro, shut up! I'm scared! This guy can really be a nice guy, but get on the front row, don't play. This guy's coming up, looking at this, he's looking at that. Take your hand, just ready to go down, go to your man.
Johnny's in America, Johnny looks at the stars. Johnny combs his hair and Johnny wants pussy in cars. Johnny's in America. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. Of Americans. The worst. I'm afraid I can't. The worst. I'm afraid I can't. Of Americans. The worst. I'm afraid I can't. The worst. I'm afraid I can't. Of Americans. I'm afraid I can't. Of Americans. The worst. I'm afraid I can't. Of Americans. The worst. I'm afraid I can't. The worst. I'm afraid I can't. Of Americans. I'm afraid I can't. Of Americans. The worst. Of Americans.
start himself out of the depression that followed his grandmother's death in 1997, Reznor took on another side project, remixing a track for his pal David Bowie. As it turned out, his paranoid state of mind at the time also inspired the song's eventual video.
Yeah, that was really a really depressing time of my life. I had all these really weird social anxieties, and I was working at this electronics store as an electronic salesman at a janitor at this studio that was attached to it. So where was the electronics store? Pearl Avenue in Cleveland, and I went by a fake alias. Oh, what was your fake alias? People used to call me Johnny Luciano.
Basically came out with an explanation of kind of why he felt the way he depressed.
Yeah. Oh. On top of his personal torments, Reznor started feeling pressure from fans and critics to create a new album that would shake up the dull and cheesy music.
Piano tune is very important, but other aspects of performance are often overlooked. A piano should have a smooth, even keyboard feel and a pleasant concert-like tone. If your piano is not performing at its full potential, Mesa Piano will consider your needs and your budget and recommend the best course of action to bring the touch, tone, and dynamic range of your piano back to what it should be. Unfortunately, pianos don't live forever. Critical wood parts will eventually weaken, crack, and fail from the expanding and contracting caused by seasonal humidity changes. The best way to prolong the life of your piano is to stabilize the humidity with the Damp Chaser Piano Lifesaver system. We hope you will choose Mesa Piano for your piano's care, and we look forward to meeting you and your piano.
Hey, do you like pocket seagulls?
I can see you do.
For 6 years, talented Cleveland and Exotic Birds have produced their unique electric dance music with the aid of computers. They use a technique known as sampling, which entails is the element of the song. It was sound as a human was trying to play 16 notes around a song. It doesn't make any difference how a song is played. If it's a good song, people like the song, whether it's a rock and roll song, whether it's a disco song, whether it's, a polka. It doesn't matter. We just use different instruments. And I refer to the computer as an instrument.
But there's one entertainer who could challenge the king for his Vegas crown. He first at the start of 15 and has been wowing millions ever since. If you haven't seen one of his unforgettable performances, then you haven't seen Vegas.
In fact, just like any computer musical computer must be programmed. It doesn't create, it recreates. It's only as talented as its programmer. When you mention talent and creativity, that blend equals the exotic to your promises to soar the birds to new heights. The past 10 weeks we've seen a great example of a musical talent in our city. Hopefully in 87 we'll let the rest of the nation in on our secret. On the Man on Music Dave Covered, live on 5.
When I tap you on the shoulder, please state your name and where you're from.
Josh Robert Thompson from Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio. What do you do for a living, Josh?
I am the voice of Jeff Peterson.
The voice of Jeff.
No, nothing all day.
Kiss my ass.
What direction do you see the band taking?
We're going straight to hell.
If we don't change it.
No, we do change everything.
Well, we're just trying to work out something with somebody. So someday we'll be able to
Reach more people.
Someday I want to grow up to be a rock star. So I want to anymore.
They want us to think. I don't know what to think. So we numb people's minds.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. That's all for this edition of The Local Scene. I'll see you next time.
I'm willing to face reality. Let me tell you, there's 3,000 groups operating on Sunday today. And the numbers growing. As Christians, we've got to take on our oppression for family and faith.
Right on. Nice sales drone paparazzi.
Alright, are you on? Yep. Okay. When did you first come over to with Pretty Machine?
Funnily enough, yeah, I'd heard Pretty Hate Machine, but and it was just a passing interest, I'll be brutally frank.
You just said,
You be honest.
Snappy Tune.
No, not Snappy Tune so much. I said it was an interesting album, but it was...
Manifest Lutheran Phenomena, also beg oxymoron, so-called pastor, which is an oxymoron, of Kurt Cecil's, near Cleveland, Ohio, Jewish town.
How I feel that. And what happened is that because...
Just harassing me on these issues, pretending to be somebody in the Parliament of Great Britain and negotiating a settlement, but then supposed to go to other people, pretending that being honest with me and sincere, that I'm supposed to get a settlement for British Petroleum Oil for their damages towards me, which are incalculable. And Arsenio Hall's voice is heard too. And he's harassing me on this subject, topic, of parties in association with them trying to steal the intellectual property and claim authorship of it. And voices on work of the acting and performance, but it's not proprietary. This is information. This is informative, not performative. Of the character voices. Okay, stupid freaking insecure Kurt Cecil issues, personality identity, loud speaking from the manifesto. Quit interposing and trying to spread what I'm saying constantly all the time. Lieutenant Manifest Phenomenon. Public demonstration under truthful state actions with various agencies. From these personality identity sources of source. Economic means. My audible sound waves, physical sound waves. Harass me all the time. Harass me with legal issues. They're trying to steal my intellectual property. They're sincerely. And concerning the causes, the damages, and as if with acts of parliament, they're settling what damages paid to me for restitution. But then now it's supposed to go to other people because they really did the production and the game. And these things keep on happening by the lieutenant first. Anyway, you stay forget that hotel right over there. With a lot of these parties. I did it all solely with no collaboration of any other for a record in my cases. Of information.
It's like standing next to a hurricane.
For purposes in copyright dispute matter, that issue, which affects of my identity, there isn't gendered context, against a conspiracy to replace and tamper and steal my identity in protracted acts of manslaughter connected as target for satanic human sacrifice, life and liberty. Soon will be of proofs of my own authorship of Jacob James E. Horton, Jake, the central target figure, the further orthodox Judeo-Christian figure. Subject is covered within the remainder of this document herein, with my testimony, as aforesaid, by AV record to come soon. 2021 1110 AV Appendix 2 RPS AV Resident Paragraphs and Scary Worth Firm. Nice guy and a tough business. Copyright dispute. Authorship verification and proofs. Lieutenant Cleveland activities. As soon as possible. Under exigent circumstances.
BBC News. Tim Harford looks at high-speed rail and executive pay, more or less, in half an hour. But first, it's Last Word with Matthew Bannister.
On Last Word this week, the Bulgarian-born pianist Alexis Weissenberg, whose musical skill saved his life in a Nazi concentration camp. Also, the Cockney actor Harry Fowler, the social researcher Sir Roger Jowl, and the music therapist Clive Robbins. But first, Sir Robert Horton was the controversial chairman and chief executive of BP, who went on to the equally controversial job of running Railtrack during its privatisation. His abrasive personality and self-regard was legendary. When he was ousted from BP in a boardroom coup, one employee said he treated everybody as though they were head gardener. People could not bear to have any more sandpaper rubbed over them. Bob Horton was born in London and educated at King's School in Canterbury. The future Conservative Transport Secretary, John, now Lord McGregor, met him when they were both at university in Scotland.
We were both sort of heading in the same direction, interested in business and politics. He was a good debater, he was very pugnacious as a debater, he was very focused, sometimes abrasive.
The veteran BBC business correspondent, Peter Day. Bob Horton was sort of chosen by BP at a very early age, so he was sponsored by them at St Andrews, and later he went to Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the great entrepreneurial university in Boston. I think he got a taste for American-style management in America there. He wanted to be chairman of BP. That's what he said when he was at university at St Andrews. He also said he wanted to be prime minister. It was that kind of self-confidence that set him apart from most of his peers.
Knowing that he was passionately interested in the arts, the chief executive of Arts and Business, Colin Tweedy, approached Bob Horton to join his board.
I was terrified because I'd read all the articles of him, cutting oil companies in America, and he was quite scary to look at before he smiled. He was very sort of austere. And of course, because he was chairman and CEO at the time, when you could do both jobs of one of the world's largest companies, you always thought that he would be a corporate bully. He never was with Arts and Business. He was a very good analyst of the situation, but he was above all somebody who liked to sort things out, a man of action. If you wanted somebody who would effectively see through a job, he was very good at it. Very interesting example, BP owned Standard Oil of Ohio, and it was in a bit of a mess. It was not working properly at all. He was sent out as a Brit to sort it out.
Even the mayor of Cleveland thought that the person they called the hatchet gentleman did a pretty good job.
Bob Horton's success in Ohio persuaded the BP board that he would make a good chairman and chief executive. On his appointment, he announced big ambitions for the company.
Watch this space. We will try and demonstrate by our actions and by our results that we mean exactly what we say, and we are going to be the most successful company in the night.
Bob Horton set out to focus BP on its core strengths of exploration and production, whilst cutting hundreds of jobs from its bureaucratic management structure. But within 2 years, the company was in trouble as the world oil price fell. The board decided they needed a less abrasive figure in charge. According to Colin Tweedy, the BP lifer Bob Horton was devastated.
I remember when he left and when he was famously removed, he said to me something quite extraordinary. He said, they've come into my office and taken the art off with crowbars, as if this was the French Revolution, as if I was being punished in absentia for even having beautiful art on my walls. He was supposed to be at dinner with me at the Tape that evening, and he rang up and said, look, I think you've realised what's happened. He said, I can't come tonight. I said, Bob, you must come. Please, both of you must come. He said, Colin, I'll just break down in tears. He said, I just can't do it. It was brutal. To say, I'll just break down in tears, Colin, was something you didn't expect the great Bob Horton to say.
He wasn't out of public life for long. By the end of the year, he was back at British Rail, and then he became chairman of Railtrack in the run-up to privatisation and tried to deliver shareholder value for the new shareholders of Railtrack.
And do you think he succeeded?
Yes, he succeeded in the task we set him to do. I know that there were problems much later on, but I certainly think that it was a difficult job and he did it very well.
I very much hope that by providing a more efficient and reliable service in the fullness of time, we'll attract people back to the railways, which will allow us to lower the costs of actually travelling on the railways.
I think he realised it was a poison chalice, but he wanted to do things. I think that often people forget how people in business, particularly that role, when you lose your job, it's as if they lose their identity. They lose not only their PAs, their executive assistants, their shift-driven cars, but they lose the reason to get up in the morning. Running Railtrack there is a lot smaller. It was an enormous challenge, but I think he rose to it and did a very, very good job, even though Railtrack, as we know, the history of the company is very different, and a lot of it's been effectively renationalised. But he did what the government wanted him to do, and they should be grateful.
He was very, very self-confident in that famous quotation, his most famous quotation. He said, because I'm blessed with a good brain, I tend to get the right answer rather quicker and more often than most people. That will sound frightfully arrogant.
The problem is people with big egos, people who are big personalities, are often disliked in the modern world. If you're rich and you own your own company, that's fine. But in the corporate world, a huge personality and a big ego is considered not appropriate in them anymore. Bob, maybe one of the last of the great personalities which ran a global business.
But that self-confidence got in the way of seeing how people would respond to his imperatives. In America, they liked it. In Britain, they didn't. Peter Day on Sir Robert Horton, who's died aged 72. Now, the pianist Alexis Weissenberg divided the critics. Some saw him as one of the greatest performers of the 20th century, whilst others criticised what they saw as a lack of sensitivity or even brutality in his playing. Alexis was born in the Bulgarian capital, Sofia. Although he came from a Jewish family, his grandmother often...
Hi, Phil. What are you doing here, Pete? Petey Weetsy, what are you doing here? Came to quite sort of do Allison's makeup for picture day tomorrow. What? What are you gonna do, her makeup and make her look like a freak? So what are you quite sort of, so what are you quite sort of up to, Phil? Drinking brewskis with my peeps. You're not one of them. Your peeps. Yeah, peeps you can't even know about. but I'm not quite, Phil, seeing any peeps of any sorts. Well, you're not allowed to see them either. If I told you about them, I have to kill you. You say I'm not one of them? You're a weirdo. You're not touching my sister.
Hey, neighbor. Hey, what's going on? Hi, Frank.
Hey, how's it going? What's going on?
So what are you up to?
Oh, about 5-6. No, I'm going to the grocery store for the apartment. I can't eat any Fritz's food out of the apartment, out of the refrigerator, you know.
Well, hey, Jim, I wanted to ask you something. Me and Frank, we got an extra third ticket to go see Skinny Puppy. You wanna go use the third ticket and see it with me and Frank?
Skinny Pup. Oh, you know what? A few months ago, GF upstairs, because you know how he wants to go to the music conservatory? Yeah. Now it's his experimental recital at Case Western. Well, he was coming over to my house before I got kicked out because of you. We were editing some Music Concrete.
Music Concrete?
Yeah, it's like tape recorder splicing. It was a hobby for a week. Well, he was saying they do that kind of stuff. I don't know
what you're talking about.
But he said they do something like it, but they call it something like audio statues or something. You know what? Well, okay. Alright.
Well, here's the ticket.
Yeah. Well, okay. I gotta go buy some food now. Alright, see you, dude.
Bye, Jim.
Welcome to David Bowie. Well, hello, Sir Robert Horton. Aha! Oh, well, have a seat. What goodies do you have to bring me today? Well, I have found some new fine recruits for the Horton Record Industry Enterprises. Oh, yes, quite jolly so. You're always also credible with such sort of thing. Yes, I'm quite sure our British invasion agenda for a globalist world government in allegiance to our Lord Lucifer will be served. Please continue. So here's to be the skinny young lad, Trent of the Risner family from Mercer, Pennsylvania, held in high regards, and I am aware that you have taken your allegiance to Satan and rejected Christ. Oh yeah, hell Satan, yeah. Certainly. And so you will serve Operation Skinny Puppy, headquartered in British Columbia. A headquarters of our British invasion on the United States of America, named by the Queen British Columbia as a better name, instead of being named after Amerigo Vespucci. And this is in cooperation with Vincent Bugliosi, the prosecutor of the Charles Manson case, who is actually, as you do know, a vampire as well. Very dedicated servant of Satan.
You sound like one of those TikToks. Heart movies.
Yeah, this is my buddy Brian Warner. Well, these are my plans. I wanted to follow Allison Laura to Jacksonville, Florida, where she goes to college, and start a band called Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids, and get a lot of experience practicing my Antichrist rock star performance. And then when he starts Nothing Record subsidiary, I'm gonna jump on it. So as I understand it, you wish to delay a recording contract until after following your admiree to college? Oh yeah, I think she's hot. And no matter what her brother Phil thinks, she's going to be a strip dancer. Aha! Affirmatively, lad. A Halloween celebration with Skinny Puppy tonight, November 7th. Vivisex 6 Tour 1988, whatever that means. Hey, why does it say it's a Halloween celebration? It didn't say that on the ticket. As I have a Halloween party. It didn't say it was a Halloween party. I stopped going trick-or-treating when I was like 14. I don't know, it's close to Halloween, they want it to be a Halloween party. I had no idea this had anything to do with Halloween. Well, it doesn't have to. I know. It's November 7th. It's like a Thursday after. I don't know. So it doesn't really have anything to do with Halloween, man. No, yeah. Hey, Allison. Have you noticed everybody else in here is dressed in the same fat, wicked witch costume? Or uniform or something? Guys, you remember that he decided to have a Halloween party? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But look, they're all the same one. They're dressed in all black, like they're all black and stuff. All their faces painted white and with weird lipstick.
don't know, they got together and it was a Halloween party. Did you know this was a Halloween party because we didn't get the memo? I mean, if I got the memo, I'd say no. What? You don't believe in Halloween? You don't think Halloween's true? No. Well, how do you know? Look, Alice, it was just wearing a costume to go trick-or-treating that you got in a box like at the store like a Luke Skywalker or something. Going and asking for candy. And, look, I never knew why you said trick-or-treat. I thought it was kind of rude. So I gave it up.
Hello, Lakewood. We are 9 Inch Nails.
Your kiss is on my list. Juicy kiss, you Swiss miss. I need your juicy kisses, I can't miss. Your kiss is on my list. Juicy kiss, you Swiss miss. I need your juicy kisses, I can't miss.
Whoa. Did you notice all the other 25 people just ran up to the front all at the same time screaming?
That's pretty freaky, isn't it? That's like some kind of fun.
Leaving us the only ones over here with 3 kids doing our own thing.
Why does the lead singer have a canine cadaver wrapped around his neck? Well, it's okay now. He just dropped it.
Most Earthlings do not yet realize that I, Sir Robert Hawkins, am the world's greatest genius in the history of mankind, and have conceived the most ingenious plan for world control, which incorporates as a component Operation Skinny Puppy. Recently, I have persuaded Phil Collins.
Cheerio, mates.
Of the recording minstrel troupe, which has been nomenclatured Genesis, which most people do not realize has actually always been a socio-politico-religious cult, spreading its gospel of Genesis, of Antichrist doctrine, through the lore amongst its cults initiates, to move to Vancouver and help establish Network Records. I have planted one of my nephews in the United States, Craig Horton, amongst its board of executives, and you shall certainly be in contact.
Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. And I gave my heart to wisdom, and no madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up.
a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it, that men should fear before him. That which hath been, is now, and that which is to be, hath already been, and God requireth that which is past. And moreover, I have seen under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked. For there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. Ecclesiastes. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of bracelets to thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance, we shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us, let us all have one purse. My son, walk not thou in the way of them, refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they shall wait for their own blood, they lurk privily for their own lives. A reading from the book of Proverbs. I am Jacob, the centrally targeted figure, centrally targeted by the loot tank insurrection. My birth name given at birth was James Edward Horton. I am the nice guy in a tough business. Born August 11th, 1970 in Stokely, Pennsylvania. I'm now 52 years old. During earlier years, I couldn't help that pure acquaintances referred to me as Jim, or more rudely, Horton. Or even Horton Hears a Who, preceding an uncanny subject matter nexus to the Dr. Seuss fiction. The social security number given to me by the Social Security Administration is 274-845382. However, over the years during the Obama administration, and since, my identity has been tampered, stolen, in attempts by the loot tank insurrection and within the government to replace my identity in conspiracy. My identification, personal papers, and effects have been stolen. Hillary Clinton, while she was Secretary of State, is a major culprit in connectivity with adverse hostile family members, which are satanic anti-Christian persecutors.
No, because is that taxidermy? That doesn't look like a stuffed animal at all. Why would you do that? Wait, that's too weird. Why? It really looked like he just impaled himself with a metal beam. You think that would be black magic we're seeing right now? I think it was a trick prop. It could have been. Right now, I'm just gonna say it was sleight of hand. That was really convincing, though.
My God, Maggot. My friend, Maggot. My dad, Maggot. My mom, Maggot. Altruistically, we've come a long way. Man and woman eating from the earth, annihilating all its worth. Non-ferrous metal rusted in the cellar. Disease. Nuclear reactivity. Reaganomics is really Reaganomics. Who knew?
Oh, and our project Tin Machine is quite on its way while I am busy here with my activities in Cleveland. A quite subversive, sloppy punk band of a garage nature. And my intent is to employ postmodern theory of language to target Margaret and subvert Horton. For sabotage to quite sort of hopefully turn him into a total lunatic. Because if you were to take these sort of cliches and rearrange the lines, for example, if you were to take lines from Proverbs from Benjamin Franklin's Almanac thusly, if a bird in the hand were worth two in the bush, and an apple a day saves a stitch of time, then a penny saved keeps the doctor away. So, as a sample, I've composed lyrics based upon a chorus which begins, "Hello, Mr. Egg," from the association of how Trout Cecil does quite go. It does laugh as such, as he ridicules Horton rudely as one of our agents planted at his high school in our intense efforts to impose sort of psychological complexes for his adolescence. Because Kurt Cecil, as you do know, is a rather obsessed fanatic of mine and Peter Gabriel's, and as he is gullibly involved with Peter Gabriel's initiatives with the student union at Kent University. And we hope Horton will subconsciously associate this when we believe he'll be charmed by its recorded sounds. And this is in union with Her Majesty the Queen's most central and personal pleasure and interests, according to the divination assignment mainly.
Hi, I'm Arsenio Hall, local Clevelander talk show host, and I'll be promoting Tin Machine on my talk show live in New York. David Bowie, my boy's been hanging out with my gangsters that are plotting on Horton. And my homie, Mr. Alloy, was his math teacher. Because Horton was trying to take advanced math in his senior year, but he was screwing Horton up, making up lessons that there were trig dances. So she's a super freak. When all his teachers were grading him on a different curve, making him have bad grades, and then he flunked him. And then there's a funny story about how one day Dave McGlovick was making him poop his pants when Mr. Alloy wouldn't give him a hall pass. This is so crazy to be involved with because we got my boy Dave Villafane, Trent's buddy, works with him on his job, got a job with him at Bob Evans Farms restaurant, and he's in the Puerto Rican gang with him, and Horton don't even know it. That's right, he keeping tabs. And then we got my boy David Rodriguez from the Lorraine Puerto Rican gang. He in the same class as Horton's sister Kathy. David Rodriguez, he tapped his sister Kathy, asking her out for homecoming. Got her on a mind control program that Horton been molesting her when he was 18. She has said she's never gonna quit with Vincent Bugliosi. When she really, Susan Atkinson's clothes been conceived by in utero injection, ain't even his little sister. Amongst all these clothes, Susan Atkinson's in a plot taken over by Satanists with mind control by demonic means. When this conception was really with the Jackson family. But she been replaced by Horton's original so-called sister because she was a screaming mess by his Bubba in Monaca, Pennsylvania. When his dad dropped the original one on her head just before they moved to Avon Lake, Ohio. It's crazy. Now Horton's dad, he thinks David Rodriguez is a Elvis Presley doppelganger. And he's really Elvis Presley too. He is an obsessed Elvis fan with a pompadour his whole life. And this is when Kenny in cross country on the Avon Lake varsity team in a club with some favorites of Horton's gym team, some favorites of Horton's gym teacher and a mafioso plotting on him. with his uncle Gary Horton. Keeps on coming over, staying in a loft above the gym class, peeking through the tiles. These girls, and she want to be in a band called Odd Girl Out, was Eddie the Chad. And she can't ever make any kind of recording contract, trying to go to Nashville. With Jennison, who another identical Susan Atkinson clone that been spread around the United States. When, yeah, they say Hort molested her, he a prime mover. And his Uncle Hauser, Dave Hauser, he is all over it. Some corny Amish guy. George Bush want to think he's something with that, exploiting them to screw up the whole FBI and CIA when they're all together and applied. When his gym teacher, Mr. Hoflick, with these girl favorites, and he just can't shut up about Horton. David Rodriguez subverting the suburbs with gang infiltration. This is so crazy to be.
Right, that's my gang. Right.
Right.
Right, because David Bowie's been coming around scouting me, right?
Right. Y'all pushing some awesome crack. But these all in my leg, they be so hypocritical. Cause they all some people with skinny puppy freaks. But it's his secret with their high priestess Karen Burton, like it's masturbation or something. This wicked high priestess Karen Burton in my leg. She's Brian Warner's aunt, who became a teenage mother because she's such a hussy. Let me tell you, she is the epitome of all sociopathic sluts. Excuse me, it's Phil Villafane, not Dave Villafane. And that's Trent Reznor's homie. And he's Brian Warner's doppelganger agent too. Always be working with an ashes spot on his eyeball while he's short order cooking, talking about seeing trees on a back wall or get confused. Alicia Shepard know what I'm talking about. Or don't know, she's a call girl while she's waitressing, and their manager is my doppelganger agent. Alicia someday gonna get married, she's gonna be called Lisa Ho. She wanna be too high involved, cause she get laid all the time. My boy, my high school buddy, he pimping her out. Right under Horton's nose. But she's getting laid all the time by devils in persona at orgies. Where the devil started liking it, she started pooping all over him. She's doing it constantly all the time. They're always at Jody Gabriel's apartment. That's another waitress. My girl Jody Gabriel, who is Peter Gabriel's niece or something. Even though she's a native-born citizen of the United States in Lorain, Ohio. But she's Anna Gabriel's cousin. That's Peter Gabriel's daughter, who lives hiding in the basement in a Velvet Underground in New York. She's Horton's Aunt Mary Ann's doppelganger agent. She's always dirty and filthy. Trying to always push dirty porno sex. He don't want to have nothing to do with it. That's doppelganger agent of his Aunt Mary Ann Jacobowski. Married to another organized criminal that's Thomas Stupid Pollock. Oh, I just remembered. Horton's Aunt Mary Ann Jacobowski isn't really his mom's sister, it's his mom's half-sister. And she's half-sister with Madonna. Because her dad, Papa Saccone, trying to get control. Knocked up Horton's grandma. Trying to get control on the family and the mafioso. To say Horton is in the mafia family, but it doesn't work on a divination assignment. And that was just stupid. But then, this is the only way the untalented Madonna ever got her recording contract in a pact with the devil. But then he had a big old move to Detroit while her mom was pregnant with her. And Sir Robert Horton, he knows all about this. He knows about all this stuff. Wait, it's so funny, because nobody even ever liked Madonna, but see them pushed on MTV. Wait, it's so funny. And you used to be able to tell the Marianne Jacobowski and Madonna Sagona are half sisters too, because they both had to get the same nose job. But that's totally different from her sister and her brother. That's Horton's mom and his Uncle Eddie. Nobody was caring. Crazy. Everybody's in a pact with the devil to sacrifice Horton to the devil.
We in the higher hierarchy of this Luciferian occultic conspiracy, which has historically been known as the Cold War. Your age group, Brian. And since it is simultaneously the age group of our central target, my nephew, it shall be the age group upon which X shall mark the spot. And so, in the year 1993, in our plan for social engineering, there shall be many musical festivals of a rather bohemian nature. And there shall be one where you will be featured, during which Courtney Love will crowd surf showing her boobies. And Scott Perks of Avon Lake will be present. And you know Scott Perks. As all the rest, besides my nephew, of this generation, thusly marked X, shall be the generation which shall willingly all receive the bucket. At this festival, I wish you to wear, with intent to cryptically mock little Orton, a Dr. Zeus cat in the hat.
Warning, graphic content.
And in this way, the pube Brian Warner became Marilyn Manson, from the city of Canton in northeast Ohio, after moving to Jacksonville, Florida, to follow his infatuation. So betting himself the Antichrist superstar, and was selected as the successor of the High Priest of the Church of Satan, in association with an affiliate cult member, also infatuated with the same infatuation as many other Catholic freaks. He was then residing in Cleveland, Ohio, having immigrated there from Mercer, Pennsylvania, knowing my uncle David Hauser, and family relatives, Horton Electric Contractors, headquartered in the same county in Pennsylvania, who were DoD subcontractors on my base. My intense airlift wing, persecuting myself, Jacob the centrally targeted figure, in their pact with the devil to centrally target for persecution and a plot to sacrifice for their record contracts. And as High Priest of the Church of Satan, selected by the higher hierarchy, he and they committed ritualistic human sacrifices in allegiance to Satan in a conspiratorial plot invented by, amongst others, Peter Gabriel and Alice Cooper, as he had mentioned in his letter to the public when forced to resign from the band Genesis for being a weirdo, obsessed with killing myself with strange ideation and composing subversive material, centrally and specifically to subvert myself by his intent, which has failed. In a British magazine in the early 70s, and Bob Geldof and with Act Mintix as a cultic ritualist vampire in the Rocky Horror Picture Show cult, conspiratorially produced as a satanic ritual in collaboration with members of my family in England.
Hangover.
Did too many drugs and alcohol. I have a hangover.
In the band, or just you?
It's both. Just like in Christianity, I have God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost. It's all one. It's a band, it's me. It's the people.
Are you the boss?
Of course.
In control?
Of course.
Always?
Sure.
Just as I thought I had seen it all.
My fellow Americans, we will no longer be oppressed by the fascism of Christianity. And we will no longer be oppressed by the fascism of beauty. Because I see you all sitting out there trying your hardest not to be ugly, trying your hardest not to fit in, trying your hardest to earn your way into heaven. But let me ask you, do you want to be in a place that's filled with a bunch of assholes?
Run to church right now! Get your asses in church or you're going to hell!
Now for an educational intermission in support.
And now here with some more Halloween costume ideas is Weekend Updates, Adam Sandler. Adam.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Well, every year I like to offer some suggestions to the kids out there on trick-or-treating, how they can spend their money and get the best quality Halloween costume at a cheap cost. So just kids, why don't you just this year use your face? You can go as a crazy big-eyed man. Hey, look at me. I'm crazy big-eyed man. I want some candy. Get some candy, crazy big-eyed man. I asked too damn big for my head. Now give me the candy. Or go as shaky lip guy. I'm shaky lip guy. Water to dip into. Candy. Or use a pickle. Go as crazy pickle mustache. I'm crazy pickle mustache. I was given this name because I have a pickle for a mustache. Most people have hair for a mustache, but not me. I have a damn pickle. The result is quite obvious. I'm a freak. Now give me some candy. Fuck it over. Or you can go as crazy pickle arm. I'm crazy pickle arm. Look at me. I have one normal arm and one arm made out of a damn pickle. Can you believe such a sight? Isn't it sad how cruel that can be? Oh, I'll never be happy unless you give me some candy. Go on, put it in the good hand. I'll just put my hand off. Now give me the candy. Or go as crazy backwards guy. I'm crazy backwards guy. I'm not facing you. I'm facing the other way. Isn't that crazy? Now go ahead and leave the candy on the table. Did I mention I have a pickle for a mustache? Finally, you can go and use a tetherball. That's always my favorite. I'm crazy tetherball head. I got a damn tetherball going out of my head and I want some candy. For the love of God, I got a damn tetherball going out of my head. Now, if that doesn't want some candy, what the hell has society gone to? Give me the candy or you might accidentally get hit with a tetherball. Crazy candy!
Hey, Adam, I got one.
So basically, America is stuck with demoralization, and unless, even if you start right now, here, this minute, you start educating new generation of Americans, it will still take you 15 to 20 years to turn the tide of ideological perception of reality back to normalcy and patriotism. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, it doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to
with small crayons. They make beautiful drawings. Red, yellow, blue, black, all sorts of them. I love my small box with crayons. With my golden yellow crayon, I draw the sun which shines over us. It shines so brilliantly over all China, because the sun is Chairman Mao. With my crayon that's black or brown, I draw a Negro boy, oppressed by the imperialists. Oh, dear friend, we will help you. Children everywhere will help you. Carefully with my crayon of red, I draw the red band of our nation. Always we will follow the party and the revolution. And we will beat American imperialism.
Ireland was once united to England. Englishmen had good inheritances, which many of them purchased with their money on good leases. They lived peaceably and honestly among you. You broke this union. You, unprovoked, put the English to the most unheard of and most barbarous massacre, without respect of sex or age that ever the sun beheld. It is a fig leaf of pretense that they fight for their king, when really they fight in protection of men of so much prodigious blood. Men who have declared the ground of their fighting to be bellum prelaticum et religio sum. You are a part of Antichrist, whose kingdom the scripture so expressly states shall be laid in blood, yea, in the blood of the saints. We are come to ask an account of the innocent blood that hath been shed. We come to break the power of a company of lawless rebels. We come, by the assistance of God, to hold forth and to maintain the lustre and glory of English liberty in a nation where we have an undoubted right to it!
He denied that he had come to wipe out the ordinary Irish people, but failed to acknowledge that his soldiers had killed many unarmed civilians. For many people, Cromwell's campaign in Ireland begins and ends with those notorious massacres, but they only form part of the story. In England, the Parliament had already begun to lay the uncompromising attitudes to all Catholics. Native Irish and Old English alike helped forge a common identity in adversity and lay the foundations for modern Irish nationalism. And this, unquestionably, is one of his most important legacies. A warrior of Christ, somewhat like the Crusaders of medieval Europe, he acted as God's executioner, exacting revenge and crushing all opposition, convinced throughout of the legitimacy of his cause, and striving to build a better world for the chosen few. In many ways, therefore, he remains a remarkably modern figure, relevant to our understanding of both the past and the present. Somebody to be closely studied and understood, rather than revered or reviled.
Information in content herein is in context of a whole body and appendix to the record Resner, Paragaries, and the Scary Earthworm memoir. This compiled edit of thus far completed parts of Short Title Nice Guy in a Tough Business is intended as authentication key of original and official authorship, as evidence to prove authorship of myself, Jacob James E. Horton, who is Jacob the centrally targeted figure, the proto-Orthodox Judeo-Christian figure, against hostile and malicious joindered acts of RICO conspiracy to steal intellectual property and copyright claim, and in conjunction with efforts to continue stealing my identity, frustrating, disrupting, and obstructing procedurally my purposes and causes to rectify record of my identity, which this record is partially in conjunction for, amongst all of its purposes, which I was assaulted with per peril evidence corroborated in parallel of the Loop Tank Manifest phenomena with its public demonstration under Jesus color state action with a various agency prominently today on September 8th, 2022, I do believe, if I'm not a day off, by personality identity representing as David Rodriguez, who I know that it is him who is a UCMJ violator against myself in the Army and Puerto Rican gang member of Lorain, Ohio, in collusion with Barack Obama and interloper Biden, de facto illegitimate and treasonous, profusing public clamor as clear and present danger war acts against myself upon the whole earth of said intents with actions in conjunction with a disorganized and confused website he is building, and in conjunction with intents to hijack, steal my websites and intellectual property remotely stored and publicly accessible by third-party services to my website, www.wordpress.com. From the Media Communications Department of the Institute of POIP Administration. C. The original and official nice guy in a tough business. And accept no cheap imitation. Only by soul practicing. These attack syndrome and the multi-aberrations of this psychotic mass hysterical epidemic. I, Jacob James E. Horton, am soul practicing and production goes about collaboration of any other which is what soul practicing means.
I am Jacob, a sexually targeted figure, sexually targeted at Lieutenant Insurrection. My birth name given at birth was James Edward Gordon. I am the nice guy of fitness. Born August 11th, 1970.
Here are AV citation credits not previously recorded in completed productions, which were intended to be at the end of total completion of full record. This is part of psychopathic homo, not my grandma's montage scene, which is intended as evidence of facts of Cleveland activities, joindered acts of them around the time period, roughly around my end of my high school years and after graduating from high school, of co-student alumni at Lake High School involved with Trent Reznor in Cleveland vain music scene, with such local acts as Exotic Birds and I think it was 1,000 Homo DJs, while they were conspiring on myself, and actually relevant facts of the continuity of events of the time period, and in some amount of satire with the dramatic reenactment intent. This was psychopathic homo, not my grandma's scene montage of introductory scenes introducing the plot, specific parties within facts of joindered acts mentioned include co-student acquaintances Mark Kearney, who was actually a secret agent who was in high school a second time, and there's been corroborated parallel evidence that he is actually his sister with a sex change and got hormone treatments, and Jeffrey Peterson, who I nicknamed Geoff, I was innocently acquainted with and can remember facts over the continuity of my life and its experience of that life, and therefore my life experience. For multitude of evidences, Mark Kearney, said secret agent in a cultic network, satanic, in conspiracy, the subject of the record, with all other parties, including Sir Robert Horton, they were all in collusion with other hierarchy, was a doppelganger agent by doppelganger phenomena, and deluded that he was actually himself my grandmother, Heidzik. This was very bizarre and strange with his bizarre ideation, deluded by the devil. Therefore, I satirically named it with a combination of these elements of facts, psychopathic homo, not my grandma's, because he's not really my grandma. The intellectual property theft aforementioned by enemy parties, including these mentioned herein, and by past assertions in various other records and the whole body of records, authored by myself, Dick James E. Horton, sole practicing executive officer of the Boyd Institute, officially at accept no cheap imitations and counterfeits by Racketeer saboteurs, was by continual overzealous general surveillance, illegal misconduct, and in conjunction with the Joint Force Headquarters Cyber Warfare Unit, and various many others in collusion, with these motives and intents aforementioned aforesaid, repeatedly to reiterate due to Lieutenant syndrome aberrations of many targeted listeners. Overzealous general surveillance, illegal surveillance misconduct, hacking, malicious intrusion of my IT devices and my work product, which is my copyright authorship, and I do not approve or intend of any other uses claiming authorship. If you cite me as the author for legitimate purposes and not slanderous ones, that is by law acceptable. Thank you. My true claims of authorship and concerning accounts at Internet Archive apply to both accounts, that I am account holder of both of them and all repositories within them, and save stored material that were according to my acts and not hijackers. Accounts under usernames by Gmail accounts, jbenyakovi, jbenyakovi @gmail.com, and yakvos @gmail.com. That is jaakovos @gmail.com. When I am also account holder of jacobnswigley @gmail.com. I do believe that is jcbbnswckley @gmail.com, with some files removed. Coming soon in next parts of Nice Guy at a Tough Business.
Because, like, my Aunt Karen. Oh, yes, Karen Merchant. Yeah, she's looking high priest in the Lake, or priestess. Yes, that's right. So, I spent some time after I graduated from high school because we were trying to kill him. Like, we were told to, but he kept on getting our traps. He wasn't doing anything here. Yes, I remember those were in this future.
Okay, there's enough right there. It's time to shoot the bull. It's time to shoot the bull. I got one question for you. What are you going to do simulating some snuff for? What are you doing? Warning, graphic content.